G'day everybody, it's Dan here at Pilates with Dan with your next instalment of your homework sheet for the Continuing Plus level. This homework sheet and the term that's about to happen is all about spinal movement. So the idea here is that we're going to be moving our spines and having that as our focus. And we're going to move in sort of cool ways, lots of flexion, extension, rotation, that sort of stuff. And so the exercises are broken down into that as a focus. Okay. So what I want you to do is it's going to take about 20-ish minutes. So make sure your space is set up. The door's locked or shut so the cat and dog don't come in and jump on your face, or the kids for that matter. And if you have a TheraBand, we'll be doing a little stretch as well. So grab a TheraBand. If you don't have a TheraBand, you can use a towel to achieve the same result. Okay, so we're going to start off laying down on our backs. Okay, so first of all, we're just allowing you to have a moment to rest, okay, to settle into the position. You can have your legs together though, and I just want you to focus on your breath. So I want you to forget about what happened with Tracy at work today, or what's for dinner, or how bad the drive is from work to home. Allow everything just to kind of disappear and evaporate. And allow yourself the time and space to focus on you. Okay, so just feel how your body's resting on this space, which we call the mat, and whether you're holding any tension anywhere. Recognize it for what it is, if it is there, and see if you can let it go. Okay. Now, from there, we're going to hold the legs together as we do our pelvic curls. So inhale to prepare, exhale to roll the hips up, inhale, exhale, rolling it back down. I don't really want the rib cage to leave the ground too high. So we're starting off just moving our lower back. We choose this to move first because maybe you haven't moved it much today. Okay, and roll it back down. Inhale to prepare, exhale, rolling up. Inhale, exhale, roll it down. And roll it down. Good. Now we're going to go into our pelvic shifts. So you're going to exhale, roll it up, hold your pelvic curl there, then move your pelvis to the right. The rest of the body stays in the center as much as you can, back to the center, and to the left, back to the center, and rest it down. Now I like to alternate my leading side, so we're going to start going to the left this time. Coming up, left, center, right, center, and going back down. When you shift the pelvis, make sure it shifts along a flat surface, so it's not rolling side to side. Okay, coming up, so we shift across, center, shift across, center, and then rest it down. And last time, leading to the left, we shift across, center, shift across, center, and rest it back down. Okay, next up we have our chest lifts. We're going to, at this level, we're going to have the legs up in the air. You know your own body, so if this is not for you today, have your feet down on the floor, or even better yet, legs extended. Okay, take the hands out behind your head, fingertips on the back of the skull, elbows towards the ceiling. You're going to inhale to prepare, exhale coming up into a chest lift. Inhale to lengthen back down. Exhale to chest lift. Inhale back down. 3, and 2, and last one. Hold that position. We're now going to climb the mountain with the hula. So you're going to go once to the right, center, once to the left, twice to the right, 2, and 2 to the left, 1, and exhale, inhale, 3, and then 3 to the left, 2, 1, and 4 to the right, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 4 to the left, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the right, 5, 4, center, 3, center, 2, center, 1, and left, center. Get to the center, 2, 1, and rest the upper body down. Place the hands down by your side. Flex the feet and tipping into our supine spine twist. So those last exercises kind of flows seamlessly together. If you have a look at them from an outside point of view, we've had some flexion for the lower back, some flexion for the upper back, some rotation for the upper back, and now some rotation for the lower part of our bodies. So many of these exercises we can kind of split the spine into two main sections, kind of an upper and a lower. And the upper part is kind of where your rib cage is all the way up to your skull. And the lower part is below the rib cage to the tailbone. And center, good. And resting it down. That's really basic stuff, right? Okay, so that's not super detailed, but that's kind of how we're dealing with things a little bit. So from here we're going to have a moment to stretch. So far we've done a little bit of flexion and some rotation just to introduce those movements to your body. Much of the second third of the towards the end of this homework sheet, there's some subtle stuff, and this subtle stuff I want you to be practicing. Just as think of it as skill development, allowing yourself to tune in. They're not massive movements at this level. They're not. You're not going to have sweat beading off your brow or anything like that. It's just to get some movement in your spine. That's all. That's all it's there for. Okay, let's do the other side. So we're starting off. It's a two-way stretch here. So heel reaching up, hip planted down. Once you've established your position for about 10 seconds, then you can lengthen out the other leg, and you're going to hold it for another 15 to 20 seconds. My left side's tighter than my right. How about yours? I can certainly feel my left feels tighter, I should say. It might not actually be tighter, it just feels tighter. All right, so pop that away. We've got a little bit of harder work now, so we're going to do the 100 roll up and roll over as a nice little sequence set. Now, at this level, the 100 for many of you with your legs out straight, playing with our idea of either having it straight up or at 45 degrees. Whatever you need to do for your 100 today, do that. Okay, so we're just going to be doing 10 breaths with the 100 beats. Okay, so inhale there and exhale, coming up and off we go. That's halfway. Keep the arms very straight. Last breath. Good, then press the legs down, arms back, ready for a roll up. Adding that little pulse that we did in March Madness. Just to help lengthen everything out. Last one. Good. Press the arms down. We do the rollover. So if this is a new exercise to you and they haven't done this before, wait till we do this in class. For those who've been doing it for a little while, this is probably I think it's the first time we're doing it in the homework sheets. Just take things nice and carefully and controlled. You know your own bodies today. Okay. Separate and flex. Then control the roll back. Squeeze the legs together. Separate and flex. Control the roll back. Squeeze the legs together. If you've got the hamstring length to get your feet to the floor, go for it. I do not. And squeeze the legs together and resting it there. Okay, so from there we have a little bit of prone work. I want you to think about this prone work as thoracic extension stuff, okay? So you're going to start off with a prone breathing moment, just to allow your body to settle into this space. Allow yourself just to relax. So we've done a fair bit of forward flexion. So I want to do a little bit more extension work now. Now, what I want you to do is form a diamond shape between your thumb and index fingers, and you're going to place it on the floor just above where your head will be. Okay. The end result of that is that your elbows are approximately brow height. Okay. So your brow height elbows are going to stay on the floor. You're going to push the floor away as you inhale. Exhale, coming back down. You inhale to push away. Exhale, back down. We're looking for as much upper back extension as you have without you coming into too much extension. We're just falling into your low back. So here, this space in the low back should remain fairly long. Inhale to press up. Exhale, back down. One more time. Inhale to press up. Exhale, back down. So that's a nice one to do before we get into our full back extension. So you see on the sheet, I've called this the swan dive prep. If you are happy doing swan dive, you will then go for it, do the swan dive. We will be practicing our swan dives in classes. So this is a prep step. So otherwise known as a full back extension. So fingertips are now in line with the brow this time. You're going to inhale up, exhale coming all the way up into that extension, lower down, up and up, down and down. We're trying to keep the pelvis as low to the floor as possible, but for some of us that might not be the most pleasant thing in the world to do. If that's you, see if you can hold on and do one more rep for me. Just do one more here. Up and down and down. Good. Now from there, push back into a rest position. So the rest position is not very restful. That's one thing I want you to think about. So it's also not child pose. I'm not a yoga person, okay? So please don't shoot me for yoga people, don't shoot me. I believe the child pose, you have your knees slightly apart and you really extend out. Well, this is not that, okay? So the rest position that I'm talking about is a very active position that you're actually pushing with your hands and your arms. Your chest is a long way away from your thighs. We've got a large shape, a large C-curve shape here. And you pushing here with that large C-curve shape, you're really pulling the belly in. You can hear my voice change because I'm really pulling in. That's your stretch there that I want you to do after doing that back extension. Okay, now, as I alluded to before, we've got a little subtle thing. Now, so the quadruped position, so you can see there's 3, and then we've got a special move after that. All right, so the 3 quadruped positions. So the first one is you just holding your shape. Keep pushing the floor away. Be evenly weighted between the left and right, and also between the hands and the knees. And just focus on the breath again. See if there's any saggy bits of your skeleton. If you're just kind of hanging off your shoulders, make sure you're pushing away, no saggy skeletons. Now the first move, remember I was saying before that you can kind of split the spine into 2 halves for the purposes of this homework sheet. So the lower part of your back, from your bottom of your rib cage down through to the tailbone, that's going to be the first thing that moves here. So this is kind of your lumbar area into your pelvis, okay? So I want you just to flex that. So you're tucking your tailbone between your legs, and then you're going to extend the tailbone up. So you just tuck and then extend. You can add a breath to this. Exhale to tuck. Inhale to extend. Tuck. Extend. So for many of us, this is the easier, I know it is for me, to find the difference between the upper and the lower. Okay, bring it back to the center. Now it's time for the upper body. So I want you just to try and isolate the upper body from rib cage up through the head. The head will drop, and I'm looking back between the legs and return. So I'm trying not to, even though the urge is great, to let the tailbone drop. I'm trying not to let that happen. I'm just using the upper body. So this is a really nice, I find anyway, down through the sides, so your lats, intercostals, serratus anterior for their muscle nerds all over here. You're going to try and work with that, not let the tailbone drop. Really challenging, I find. Just trying to isolate the upper body and back. Okay, so from there, we've got one of my favourite moves, the sexy cat. So you're going to let the hips go over to the right, and you're going to turn back and look at your hips if you can see them. And then turn to the other side. And turn to the other side. And turn. And turn. So we've got some lateral flexion happening through our spine, but also don't forget the head, the neck. The neck is part of our spine. Okay, we've got some rotation for that neck of ours, which is lovely because we rotated everything else before. Last one. As I said, this is one of my favourite moves. So pushing back into the rest position. Okay, and now our finale is a little bit of support because reasons. Okay, supporting the body is really good. All right, so we've got front support and moving into pikes. So you're stepping out into your front support. I'm pretty confident with all your abilities here, but depending on how big a day you've had, you may be getting a bit tired right now. So it's at this point I want you to check in that you're not sagging through your skeleton. You're keeping that very firm push into the floor. We're going to press out, holding for 4 breaths. And back in. And again. Keep pushing that floor away. Now for some of us, the front support is a simple exercise. And when I say simple, I don't necessarily mean easy, I just mean it's fairly straightforward, you've got a good grasp of it. It's for you people where the front support is simple, I want you just trying to squeeze out a little bit of extra work, okay? Because I know sometimes when we find that we're okay with the movement, we can relax a little bit. I want you just to squeeze out a little bit more, really push that floor away, okay? So really push that floor away, this last front support. We're then moving into pikes. So on that 4th exhale, I want you to then lift the hips up and lower the heels down. So you go into a pike position and then back out to front support. And up into that pike position and back out to front support. And up to pike. Feels good on those calves and feet maybe. Up and back out. We'll do one more there. And up into the pike and back to that front support and resting it down. So there you are, we've finished our homework sheet. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the subscribe or like button or leave a comment below, see what how you felt with it, whether we can add more or take away anything. And keep practicing, and I'll see you in the studio soon.